Chapter 27 is just around the corner in Dead by Daylight, and we are yet to have any information or credible leaks about what it could be, or if it is licensed or original. So in today's video, I'm going to go over the possibilities that could be available for the Chapter 27 release in Dead by Daylight. Before we begin, however, if you like this, please like and subscribe and comment down below, as it lets me know that you're interested in this type of content and makes me want to complete and create some more in the future. Thank you. Before we begin to actually talk about the possibilities and the rumours going around regarding Chapter 27, let's first explore what actually a chapter is and how chapters work in Dead by Daylight. So, for most players who are familiar with the game, as you'll know, we have 4 chapters per calendar year in Dead by Daylight, one in March, one in June at the anniversary of Dead by Daylight, one in late August/early September, and one in the late fall of the year. Normally, the biggest 2 chapters, personally in my opinion, are always the anniversary one and the late August, early September release. But we know that Behaviour also like to sort of aim for 2 licenses and 2 original killers per year for their 4 chapters to have a nice fair balance of content in their game. So is this chapter going to be licensed or is it going to be original? As of yet, according to the information and the lack of leaks, we have no idea yet if this will be a licensed or an original chapter. But I'd like to take a look at the license possibilities and then go on to whether it could be original or not. So let's get into the licenses. So the first license that I'm going to discuss is actually going to be Dying Light. Recently, as Behaviour posted a tweet about their weekly perks that are available in the store, the official Dying Light Twitter account replied to this with a comment. This is because maybe one of the perks involved was Dying Light itself. And Behaviour's official Twitter page, Dead by Daylight page, actually replied to their comment as well. However, the comments replied and sort of the words and things sort of suggest they were sort of admins who were just having a bit of fun at the time and nothing really we can read into it further. So in my opinion, I don't think there's enough information or enough evidence here to sort of suggest that this is a realistic possibility at the moment for Chapter 27 in Dead by Daylight. Now we know that Chapter 27 is definitely not Art the Clown from Terrorizer. This is because the actual director of Art the Clown has tweeted multiple times, responding to people in the DBD community on Twitter, and also sort of tweeted at Behaviour Matthew Cote, trying to initiate a collaboration or a discussion about getting Art the Clown into the game itself. And as of yet, Behaviour have yet to respond publicly and, according to the director, privately as well. So this suggests to me that Behaviour are not interested in this sort of level of license, and if we are getting a license for Chapter 27, we should expect it to be of a bigger quality and more known than Art the Clown is. Interesting possibility that has been going around is Dead Space. Now, I must say I'm not too familiar with Dead Space itself, but I did see sort of maybe information or rumours that there was a new game coming out or a remake of the game that was coming out a little while ago. And Dead by Daylight and Dead Space would be a good collaboration, as Dead Space is sort of a niche license that is big enough to be in Dead by Daylight and is bigger than Art the Clown. But it's not one of these licenses that would be too big for a March chapter update compared to one that maybe would be more suitable for an anniversary chapter. Now, as of yet, we have no leaks, no credible information. Due to the situation with DBD leaks and leakers being shut down recently, we don't have anything to go off and sort of say, okay, can we guess that this is true? Or do we know if anyone said anything about this sort of chapter and this license being involved? So for now, what I would say about Dead Space is definitely, I wouldn't be surprised if this was a possibility and one they were considering to sort of bring into the game for Chapter 27, or even as a license piece of content in the future, whether that's cosmetics or some sort of other partnership. But we'll have to wait and see in that one. and I wouldn't be surprised if it did come into the game in the near future. Now, the big licenses. FNAF, Jason, Stranger Things, all huge licenses. A Silent Hill number 2 chapter, etc. Maybe even a Resident Evil Part 3 because of the relationship with the developers. All of these licensed pieces of content will have no chance of coming for Chapter 27. Jason, Behaviour have been trying to get into the game for a long time. There's still a disagreement and sort of an upheaval about the actual who holds the license rights and who sort of controls where Jason is seen in regards to video games, film, promotions, sponsors, etc. FNAF, again, Behaviour have I'm not too sure about their sort of feelings on this license, but everybody in the community knows this is a big license. This would be a big piece of content for the game. And of yet 7 years in, we are yet to have any sort of credible leaks or information about it coming to the game. So I believe we can rule this out definitely for Chapter 27. Stranger Things, our favourite thing to talk about in Dead by Daylight. This license has so many bits of information, leaks, wrong information, hype amongst the community. And for Chapter 27, there is none due to the fact that leaking is now no longer really as big as it was. And also on Stranger Things coming back into the game, who knows really if that will ever come back or if it won't. But if there was a part 2, which they definitely could consider, the original DLC would probably come back with the part 2, and that would most likely come out at the end of the 5th season of the actual show. So probably, if it were to come out, it would come out in mid to late 2024. So we shouldn't consider that for Chapter 27 as well. Now, the third and final license that I would actually like to talk to and speculate about is Alien. Now, this is because Alien has long been talked about by the community for a potential chapter appearance in Dead by Daylight. Now, what we know so far is that Behaviour are definitely interested in this property. This is because on the recent satisfaction surveys, Alien has always been on the list of licenses of which Behaviour have included for what pieces of content would you like to see in our game in the future. So we definitely know that there is interest there, and as they cannot obtain Jason, FNAF, Stranger Things, other licenses of that sort, we can boldly assume that Alien is near the top of the list for the developers, as it fits in with the game model, and it's quite a popular license and piece of property on its own. And this would make sense for a Chapter 27 release. As I said at the beginning, we like to have 2 licenses in the game and 2 original killers in typical fashion, as that is normal for Behaviour to sort of try and balance and find in the game releases. So that means that one license will most likely be a little bit more niche, and one license will be more of a big time license. However, one thing I would say about Alien, if it is going to be coming into Dead by Daylight, I'd still probably consider it more likely to be an anniversary chapter or a chapter later in the year than it would be for the March chapter, as I don't view the March chapter as one that is big enough to sort of hold a license like Alien. If there is, say, a smaller license coming into the game later in the year, I don't think that would make sense personally. But as of now, the most likely piece of licensed content for me personally, if I was to put money on it and bet on it now, I would say that Alien would be the next licensed piece of content to come into the game. Whether that's Chapter 27 or later, who knows? Now, there has been no information about whether the killer is actually licensed or original or not. However, we can assume that it's probably likely that we will not know any information about this until maybe even the PTP drops, which I'm not too sure when that is, but it will definitely be within the next month or so, because we know the chapter is definitely coming in March due to the Year 7 roadmap, which was released by Behaviour last anniversary. And in my personal opinion, regarding the licensed or is it an original chapter sort of debate, I would probably still go 60-40 in favour of an original chapter. And again, this is just because of my sort of personal opinion that I believe that this chapter is more of a smaller chapter. I don't really see any sort of information. And now I know that obviously leaks are not as big as they were, But if it's a decent sized license or piece of licensed content, there will probably be a few murmurings coming out around now, saying what it is or speculation that's coming about, and there is none as of yet. So for me, I would probably lean towards this being an original chapter so far. Let me know your thoughts down below, and what you would like to see for chapter 27 and the future year of Dead by Daylight in terms of content.